We had sticky notes, we had tons of them, and then we had to try and like tape it down. So we split into two groups, one on transportation and one on green jobs. So Andrew is going to present green jobs.
Okay, well, green jobs is a subject that is not talked about as often. I think is transportation and maybe green gardens and some of the other topics that are quite well covered. So we thought we'd give it a spin. It's a little bit challenging, I think, and we came up with one idea that we think is quite good, and it is incentives, brackets, regulatory, educational, training, including training for low-income marginalized individuals for weatherizing existing buildings. So the idea was, so as we all know, existing building stock is a major problem. How do you improve the performance of existing buildings? We know we can do a lot with new buildings. We can improve performance, and we're getting better and better at that. But what do you do with existing buildings, and how do you encourage people to improve the performance of their buildings? So we threw out a few little examples, and I'm sure the group would probably have some other ideas. One is a relaxation of a floor space ratio of area for insulation of existing buildings. So if you want to add lots of insulation on the outside of your building, at the moment you're not allowed to. The city won't allow you to. It's if you're at the maximum floor area. So that's something the city could do. We talked about tax incentives, and there was a lot of discussion about what kind of tax incentives that the city could implement for encouraging people to improve the performance of their building. Some things, property tax incentives were something that we debated about quite a bit. It's a contentious issue, I think. But certainly there are some potential incentives there. The other area that we were looking at was educational. How do you educate people about the cost benefits of improving the performance of their buildings? So we all know that if you put some money into, say, double glazing or single glazed windows, that there's a payback period to that. But what is the payback period? So if the city had, and I think the government used to have this program for the feds that axed it, but if they would do some kind of audit, if they would help you to calculate the payback on whatever particular upgrade it is that you're considering for your building, then
city-funded energy audits.
Pardon me?
City-funded energy audits, eco-energy.
Yeah, city-funded energy audits. There you go. So that was we've got it here, audit program. So that's the idea. We think there'd be a huge amount of jobs created in construction if we went to upgrade the existing building stock, and these are some of the ways that we might encourage that.
Ideas, and we tried to consolidate it down to ideas that weren't on the website. And the one that came out, someone had written beautify pedestrian ways, beautify pedestrian sidewalks, make it a more pleasurable experience for pedestrians in our city. So that seemed to have the most energy, so we kind of expanded that one. So we called it attractive sidewalks for high traffic areas. So beautify pedestrian ways to attract more walking with rainbow sidewalks, sparkly
paving.
Yeah.
Sparkly paving.
Rainbow and
water sidewalks. I'm just giving that one away. That's great.
What if you want to like swing from tree to tree? Sidewalk canopies, tree overhangs, and resident-owned PV canopies. Incentives for merchants to beautify their sidewalk area. Also have sidewalk cafes, laneway pubs, cafes, and restaurants. And down that alleyway is so much more interesting. Also have a neighborhood identity for residents' sidewalk design. So neighborhoods get together and design their sidewalks and then go and implement it. So you know when you're going from neighborhood to neighborhood by the characterized sidewalks. Texturize the pavements so pedestrians can experience different textures of the pavement.
Car intersections. I mean, textured pavement, it kind of relates to that earlier one. Paint the bikeways, like paint the bike intersections green. Like, I mean, cobbles or something or other at intersections. So people know, pedestrians know, this is mine. And everybody else does too.
Yeah, the cars
All of commercial drives.
The idea of a pedestrian scape. So as you're going down the pedestrian way, it's like this landscape with points of interest, so it becomes this little journey. And having separate lanes, so the rollerbladers and the skateboarders have their own little roller lane, and then there's the walker lane, and then the bike lane, and then the cars. And maybe they're separated by like plant buffers or tree buffers.
Woo!